I have a special shout out to my new viewer, Don. I'd like to respond because you're right. We can't always tell a person's intent. So I did a video on gray rocking versus stonewalling. And gray rocking is when you're kind of flat effect, where you're not letting things show that it bothers you. Stonewalling is what the narcissist often uses. Now we can use it too. So I'd like to address this to Don and everybody, the difference between these two. So a narcissist often likes to not respond to us. They're manipulating us to get us to do things. And in reactive abuse, we can do it too, or we've become so sensitive that we're starting to turn narcissistic. So that's why it's really important to understand how we're reacting, what we're doing. So a narcissist, and like I said, it can be other people too, will use stonewalling. It's that video was meant to give a definition of what things are. So stonewalling, you know, if let's see, how do I word it? The narcissist purposely doesn't answer you to manipulate you or to punish you. If you were, let's say, where you had to be at work and they were ticked off that they had to make their own dinner, so now they're mad at you and they just don't talk to you, and you're like, I'm sorry, I had to be at work, and you didn't do anything wrong. You're trying to help provide for the family, and you have obligations, and you are completely shut out. The narcissist isn't talking to you. Or if you're asking, would you mind letting me know that you're okay? And they just shut down. They don't even respond, like telling you, I would, but the meeting is going to be going on, so I can't contact you. At least communicating with you. We don't always have to get our way just because we ask for something. Whether they're a narcissist or a different kind of person, they don't have to always accommodate, but they should be polite and respectful. So I had this one time with my narcissist, where he just, I'm trying to hand our daughter's soccer ball to him. Not even trying to talk to him, just trying to hand him a soccer ball because it's hers and she's going home with him. He's not looking at me. He's not responding to me. And I'm like, this is like, just take the soccer ball. And I'm being like treated so rudely. That's like stonewalling. I had reactive abuse, and I had said something. His girlfriend had taken the ball, and I was a little irritated, and I said, you're a bigger man than he is. Kind of saying that I'm not agreeing with what your actions are. So that's out of my character to react that way, or to act that way. I reacted. I didn't call him names. I didn't cut him down. But in that instance, I reacted to his rudeness. But in gray rocking, what that is a protective measure. We've been through a lot of abuse, and there comes a point where agree to disagree, and there's like no hope for certain situations, or there are times that it escalates when they're cutting you down and you try to come back and they just keep cutting you down more. So in those instances that you're being abused and they're calling you a piece of shit, they're doing this, so instead of like defending ourselves, like, I'm not a piece of shit and I do this, and then we can say that I buy the groceries, and then they can cut us down that we buy the wrong stuff, or it's just, and then we try to defend that, and everything gets out of hand. So there's gray rocking, where we just say, I understand you feel that way, and we're not letting them see that it's getting to us. So they're abusing us, and we're just, okay, all right, that's fine, that's what you feel. Or they're like cutting us down or being abusive, and we're like, are you picking her up at 6 or are you picking her up at 7? Well, you're a fat ass. Are you picking her up or are you picking her at 6 or 7? So we're not absorbing the abuse. So that's what the difference is. The person said, like, we can tell from a third party perspective. Not always. Sometimes we can't even tell when we're in the caught up in the moment. And that's why a lot of these viewers on my channel and other channels are trying to figure out, like, what did we do wrong? So if we have empathy, we realize that we've been abusive in some way. Just like when I said, oh, you know, you're a bigger man than he is, trying to give him a little jab. That was kind of abusive. You know, but it's a reactive abuse. And is it right? It's probably not right. But just like I did a thing on the murderer that lives across the street. There are times when we do self-protection. So if you're sitting here hitting me and hitting me and hitting me, I can absorb some of it. But eventually, if it's getting to where it's going to damage, you're hitting me in the head, it's going to cause me to, I hit back. They're both hits. You're hitting me, I hit you back. They both cause damage. And some is justified, some isn't, you know, and there are different ways to handle it. In relationships with the emotional abuse, we can walk away. Some of us feel trapped because of money. There are domestic violence shelters. And some of us feel trapped. We don't have somebody to watch the kids, and it's overwhelming, or we're scared that we're going to get hurt more, because when somebody leaves a relationship, that's when it's the most dangerous. So know who your narcissist is. If you need to employ, it's free, utilize the sheriff's department or the police. They do help you move out to keep the peace. Get personal protection orders if you need to. But as far as the definition, it was just the definition, and we can't always tell who started it, you know, who started the abuse in that instance. So just like I had said, when you know, if you're in a do or die type situation where it's abusive, if that person turns away, you can't come after them. You're no longer in a threatened situation. And that my degree's in criminal justice. I taught criminal law. I've been to law school. So then you are the abuser once they turn away. So in the relationships, there are times that we might take on the abuser role. We're not angels. We're not saints. There are times when our narcissist has stopped, and we're so hurt, just like that dynamic where we're so hurt when in the physical fight they turned away, you can't come after them. In an emotional state, we're still hurt, and we still want to sometimes attack back. And that's where they devalued us. And sometimes we restart things. Some of you want revenge, you know, and that's just restarting it. I had some viewers where they're like, you know, should I do this? Should I do that? And I'm like, you got to let it lie. You're like, you just want, just like that person in that physical fight, they might want to kill that person because they were either raped or near death. They want to attack back, but you can't. You should leave, and you're safe now. You're not being pummeled. You leave. You don't continue. And we got to do that in these relationships. So some of us let our boundaries down, so we take more abuse than we need to. We think that things are going to get better, and if our boundaries are constantly being broken, we're going to constantly be in those situations that are abusive. So more to the viewer who responded to me is, can't always tell. There are, just like in the court systems, they can't always tell who instigated it. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. But it's a protective measure. Gray rocking is protective. Stonewalling is abusive. I never said in the video, maybe I did, I don't think so. It's just the difference. And a narcissist often uses it. We can use stonewalling too. when we're so hurt. The narcissist is hurt for some reason, so they use it. And over time, we've been abused. So we turn narcissistic sometimes as well. So to nip it in the bud, you address things. If they're not going to talk to you the right way, you know, you can sit there and have that conversation, and then you can say, we can agree to disagree, and then you stonewall. It's out of my character to just not say anything. And before, I don't like to use stonewalling. I'd like to get to the bottom of things. But the narcissist doesn't. And it's, you know, just two different types of people, like who's being respectful, who's being disrespectful. We do try to work things out with the narcissist where we're not bombarding them. We do try to talk to them. Eventually, you know, you're like, can we just talk about it tomorrow? We try to communicate that instead of just shutting down and not saying a word. It can be very hurtful when the lines of communication are cut off. We try to compromise, and I saw something where 1/3 of narcissists don't have the capacity to compromise. I haven't done the research on that yet. I came across it. So we try to compromise. Like, we try to talk about it, and then we try to, you know, can we talk about this later, or is now a good time? And the narcissist can go months without talking to us. I had a viewer comment, I think she didn't talk to her husband for a year. Didn't talk to him. And sometimes you don't even know why. He didn't know why. I had a brother, he was a teenager. I wouldn't say a narcissist, but he was a teenager, and my older brother, and I was your silly little teenage girl who was just silly, and he hated it. He didn't talk to me for a couple of years. He did not talk to me, and I had to go to Wednesday night church with him, and he drove me to school every morning and drove me home, and I'm sitting in this car with him trying to talk to him. He would not talk at all, and half the time he wouldn't even look at me. Finally, I'm like, what is going on? And he's like, you're smarter than that. You don't have to act so silly. It irritates me. You're smart. You don't have to act silly. And that's why he didn't talk to me for 2.5 years. Like, he never even told me. So how am I supposed to change anything if I felt I should, or self-reflect, like maybe I shouldn't have been so silly, or I like being me. Like, screw him, I like being me, or I get your point, maybe I should change. You just get this stonewall, and how do you fix things? You don't even know what the problem is. So, you know, in that situation, it could have been handled so different. And that's what the difference is. And Don, thank you so much. And thank you for fueling the fire. Hope you enjoyed the video. And it's true, though. We don't always know who's at fault. But a lot of times in narcissistic relationships, it's things just like that thing with my brother. Like, what's wrong? Like, there's a problem. Talk about it. And then if you can't come to an agreement, but narcissists will punish you and you don't even know what's wrong. And you're thinking, like, I had a great time today. Like, what was going on? And they will pick apart little things about you and not tell you and hate you for it. And that's not fair. So thanks, Don. And everybody, viewer topics are always welcome. And yeah, you don't always have to agree with me. Not a problem, but I'm going to respond. Have a good day. Bye.